Hello IP6. This is our fourth video lesson. So last week we talked a bit about commas and today we're moving on to abbreviations. Before we start the new topic though, I just want to check your homework for the last lesson. So please make sure you've got your workbook ready. Okay, so on Friday in your second lesson, I asked you to do workbook page 104. In section A, we needed to add commas and decide if the sentences were compound, a positive, used an introductory word, or a direct address. So number one, Georgia O'Keeffe was an exceptional artist, comma, Don. We're using the comma for direct address, speaking to Don. Number two, yes, comma, her paintings hang in many galleries. The comma goes after introductory word yes. Number three, her husband, comma, Alfred Stieglitz was a photographer. Alfred Stieglitz is being used as an appositive to describe the husband. Number four, oh, comma, several of his photographs are in this book. We use the comma after an introductory word. Number five, he published a magazine, comma, camera work in, comma, in 1903. Camera work is being used as an appositive describing the magazine. Number six, later he established a gallery, comma, Don. Again, direct address to Don. And number seven, they got married, comma, and both pursued their careers. That is a compound sentence joined together with and. So give a score out of 7. Then section B, there were 5 missing commas. Georgia O'Keeffe always wanted to be an artist, comma, and she studied art in Chicago and New York. Alfred Stieglitz, comma, a well-known photographer, comma, exhibited her work, and they married in 1924. O'Keeffe later fell in love with New Mexico, comma, a state in the Southwest. Yes, comma, that landscape greatly influenced her work. So again, give yourselves a score out of 5. Okay, this lesson today is about abbreviations, and I think you all know what abbreviations are. An abbreviation is a shorter way of saying a word. Now, usually abbreviations start with a capital letter and end with a period, but not always. We use abbreviations with titles, with the words that we use for addresses and businesses, for measurements, for months of the year, and for days of the week. Okay, so we'll start with titles, and most of them you'll have seen before. We've got Mr., Mrs., which we use for a married woman, Miss, which we use for a woman who is not married, and notice there's no period with Miss. We use Ms. for a woman whether she is married or not married. DR for doctor. Junior and senior means like if you have a son with the same name as his father, the son would be named Junior and the father would be named Senior. We can use the abbreviation R period N period for someone who is registered as a nurse in a hospital. We can use the abbreviation J period P period for a justice of the peace. That means a judge, so someone who works in a courtroom. The abbreviation for president, like President Biden, is PRES period. And for vice president, we use V period P period. Like for Vice President Kamala Harris, we would say VP Harris. So just an example, Mr. Gary Smith Sr. We've got period after Mr. and after Senior, again, we've got a period. We use abbreviations for words that we use in addresses. So road is RD period, avenue, AVE period, street, ST period, Drive, DR period, similar to doctor. Boulevard, BLVD period. Route, RT period. A post office is P period O period. Apartment is APT period. Building is BLDG period. An expressway, which is like a toll road, is EXPY period. A parkway is PKWY period. For a mountain or a mount, you can use MT period. And for a square, which is like an area where there's lots of space, SQ period. So our school is on Vipavadi Rangsit Road. You spell road RD period if you're trying to shorten it. As well as for addresses, we can use abbreviations for various businesses and organizations. So a company is CO period. The word limited means LTD period. For corporation, we can use CORP period. Incorporated, INC period. And for police department, P period D period. So for example, the company Apple, you may have seen it written as Apple Inc. That means Apple Incorporated. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these because you've probably seen many of them before, but we have many common abbreviations that we use for measurements. You'll notice that some have periods and some do not. Like inches is IN periods, but miles per hour is just MPH with no periods. If you want to pause this to look at it, you can, but I think you've seen all these before. For inches, miles, centimetres, pounds, feet, miles per hour, metres, pints, yards, horsepower, kilometres, quarts. You've seen those, I think, in your math lessons. Again, I'm not going to go over this much because you've seen abbreviations for months of the year many times. Usually we just use the first 3 letters of a month followed by a period. Now May doesn't have a period after it because it's 3 letters anyway. June and July are only 4 letters, so sometimes you abbreviate, sometimes you don't. And for September, SEPT period is acceptable, but so is just SEP period, the first 3 letters. Same with days of the week. Usually you would abbreviate by just using the first 3 letters of the day, followed by a period. On Thursday, you can do that, or you can write THURS period. As well, we talked about this when we discussed capitalization of proper nouns, but we can use initials, which are also an abbreviation. So initials are when we use the first letter of a name, followed by a period to replace either a person's first or middle name. So if any of you have read the Goosebumps books, you might know the author R.L. Stine. His full name is Robert Lawrence Stine. Okay, please get your textbook and look at page 252. Look at questions 1 to 10. If there are any words that you can abbreviate, write the abbreviation next to it. So if you've got your textbook, you can do it in the book. If you haven't got your textbook, pause the video. Please, everyone, pause the video now and press play when you have finished questions 1 to 10. So please pause now. Okay, if you are finished, keep watching for the answers. Number 1, we abbreviate avenue, AVE period. Number 2, we can abbreviate incorporated, INC period. Number 3, abbreviate parkway, PKWY period. Number 4, apartment is APT period. Number 5, mount is MT period. Number 6, post office is P period O period. Number 7, company is CO period. Number 8, limited is LTD period. Number 9, justice of the peace is J period P period. And number 10, we can abbreviate feet and inches feet is FT with no periods, inches does have a period. Okay, now please look at the box that's on the bottom of page 252. Now you can see that I have crossed out a few of these questions. I've crossed out number 11, 16, 17, 25 and 26. In your textbook, it gives you some abbreviations for states and for organizations that exist in America, but we don't really use them or know them here in Thailand. So I've crossed out these questions. I'm not expecting you to learn all of the states or to learn what a radio station in America is called. So I've crossed out those ones, but I want you to answer questions 12 to 24, except 16 and 17. So again, please pause the video now. Okay, if you are finished, now you can keep watching for the next set of answers. Number 12, we change mount to MT periods. 13, miles per hour, MPH, no periods. 14, street, ST periods. 15, company, CO periods. 18, horsepower, HP. Number 19, parkway, PKWY periods. 20, incorporated is INC periods. 21, feet, FT. 22, IN periods. 23, avenue, AVE periods. And 24, justice of the peace, J period, P periods. Okay, that's the end of this lesson. Your homework is workbook page 108. Please make sure you finish that page before your next lesson on Friday. Very quickly, I'm just going to go through that page. Okay, so your homework tonight is workbook page 108. Now again, I've crossed out a couple of things that you don't need to change because they refer to things that we don't use in Thailand. So section A, you give abbreviations for numbers 2 to 9. Do not worry about number 1 or number 10. Section B, you have an address. You can write the address again using abbreviations wherever you can. So words that I've not told you to abbreviate, like Missouri and Idaho, you don't need to do. But words that we have abbreviated, like doctor and avenue, you need to write the abbreviated form on these lines. Okay, IP6, that is the end of this lesson. So please make sure you finish that homework by Friday. And until then, thank you, IP6. Bye-bye.